Hey friends, thanks so much for tuning in. I can't tell you how much it means to me that those of you who do tune in regularly take the time to do so, because without you, there would be no us trying to combat the Mockingbird mainstream media and their lies, and that's what today's show is about. I discovered a video not long ago from my new friend Waldemar Perez. He's a mechanical engineer, and he used to work for the Department of Defense, and he did a fantastic presentation recently titled Mainstream Media as a Weapon of Social Engineering and War, and he gave that presentation to a community college in Oregon. And Waldemar's been kind enough to join me now to expose the Mockingbird traitors. Waldemar, welcome.
Well, thank you, Sean. Thanks for inviting me. It's an honor. As I said, I follow SGT Report. I started researching a whole lot of stuff, but initially, during the last recession, I started researching finance, and one thing led to the other, and I'm researching other things, and I came to the conclusion that part of everything that is happening and all the problems we have has to do with the mainstream media. The mainstream media is the gateway, if you will, of some or most of the problems we have. So I have, from my own experience, every time I, tell people a little bit about what's going on, I get attacked with the same, ad hominem attack. Essentially, you're a conspiracy theorist. So I decided to put this media lies presentation, essentially, to show people how the mainstream media lie to you and I and everybody with actors. And I have to say, it was very shocking. I'm used to people lying to me, but when you see people using actors, that's more than a lie. That's what I would call an organized conspiracy to get you to play with your emotions, to get you to approve war and kill innocent people. So I decided that I needed to do something about it, and I've been researching for a while now. And I also, first of all, I want to take an opportunity to thank all the activists out there that I put on my presentation, like Storm Clouds Gathering, Aaron Hawkins, and Tough Crime 7, for all the great work that they do. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. And I encourage people to see for themselves, research, and read everything. It's the only way that you can come to your own conclusions. Don't listen to the mainstream media. They are an organized, very well-funded conspiracy, believe me.
Yep. Nope, that's absolutely true, and we're going to flush that out in this conversation. And pointing to one of those activist YouTube channels you just mentioned, Thought Crimes 7, in your presentation, Mainstream Media as a Weapon of Social Engineering and War, you play a video that Thought Crimes 7 created called The Top 10 Staged Media Events, and we're going to touch on that in this conversation because what we are doing, those of us in the activist media, those of us who are awake, those of us who understand the language, which includes central banking, the Federal Reserve, fiat currency, endless money printing, the CFR, which is the Council on Foreign Relations, those of us who are equipped with the language can have this conversation, whereas those who are not, the sheeple people, we're not even able to have these conversations with those people, Waldemar, because they don't understand what the Mockingbird mainstream media is. They don't understand what CIA Operation Mockingbird is. And just to give an example here, guys, I think it's important to revisit how they fast-tracked the TPP and got that through. The TPP fast-track was shot down on May 12th, but rebranded by the CFR on May 14th and repackaged as TPA. And that's how they hustle us. But what's really important about that story is that it's the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, that helped rebrand the TPP as the TPA and bury it into HR 1314. So how does that relate to today's conversation? Well, the Mockingbird mainstream media, the people that Waldemar says are aligned against us, include people like George Stephanopoulos over at ABC. He was the former communications director in the Clinton administration. Brian Williams. He's a CFR member. CNBC's Erin Burnett, CFR member. CNN's Anderson Cooper, heir to the Astor fortune with CIA ties. Fox News' Dana Perino, former White House press secretary under George W. Bush. MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski, the daughter of Zygmunt Brzezinski. MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell, Alan Greenspan's wife. And the rest of these names are all CFR members: Diane Sawyer, Sanjay Gupta, Judith Miller, Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, Rupert Murdoch. It gets worse. How about news organizations that are aligned with the CFR? Wall Street Journal, CNN, ABC News, News Corp, New York Times, Time Warner, Washington Post, PBS, PBS NewsHour, CBS News, NPR, and Bloomberg News, just to name a few. These are the traitors and the enemies of the people of the Republic of the United States. And just circling back, Waldemar, it's impossible to have this conversation with our friends, neighbors, and colleagues if they can't speak the language, isn't it?
Absolutely, Sean. I struggle every day trying to think, of a way that I can quickly educate people on all these subjects. I've been researching this for at least, some of the more organized conspiracies for about 4 years, and finance since 2007. And believe me, the amount of books, the amount of documentaries, and the amount of time that it takes, no wonder nobody can speak our language. Well, not nobody, but a certain segment of the population. People are coming up to speed fast, but I jump right in with documentation. Like, for example, in my presentation, I mentioned CIA document 1035-960, which is the an interagency memo that the CIA sent down to all the government agencies on how to deal with conspiratorial arguments. It is one of the documents that I pull when people start, being a little skeptical of what I say. I also bring a copy, which I have on my phone, and I have physical copies also, just to tell people: Operation Northwoods, an organized conspiracy to commit acts of terrorism against the American people. Most people don't know that, and they're not going to hear it from Rachel Maddow or Bill O'Reilly. And as I said, they are the gateway. Once you start seeing these shocking documents, you will see you will understand a little bit of what's going on, and you will be more open to listen. And that's why I came up with a presentation, because I think it's fun to watch how Hollywood, even through their leaked sex videos, they send you the propaganda. And how they use actors, and you can see the actors. But it's fun to watch. I think that people are waking up little by little. But I'm kind of a little bit impatient sometimes, because I tell people, go read this document, watch this documentary, you will see it for yourself. And like you said, people have a short attention span, and they want to watch House of Cards when they have free time. So
yeah, well, that's interesting. Well, that's actually an interesting reference. House of Cards, I think, does mirror our government to a great degree. So it's funny that people tune in for House of Cards to watch fiction, which more closely resembles the reality of what we're up against than a lot of shows out there. But I'll tell you what I do a lot, Waldemar, to try to wake people up. I mention a lot now the fact that in 2013, the United States government repealed the propaganda ban, which now allows it to use domestic propaganda. So they're using psyops and lies against the people. And because the U.S. government has repealed the propaganda ban and can now use propaganda against the people, including psyops, who's to say what they're doing and what's actually going on in these exercises? So when something like Sandy Hook happens, and there's all sorts of wonderful researchers out there asking important questions that the government in Connecticut cannot answer, this is why we have to wonder why. And so now I just want to ask you this as it relates to the CIA, and why do we call them Mockingbird mainstream media, guys? One of the reasons is because CIA's Operation Mockingbird, which Waldemar can flush out, allows them to get whatever news story they want out in front of the American public. It used to be within 24 hours. Now it's probably within 24 minutes, so that you're bathed with stuff like this. This is from Waldemar's presentation. Listen to this.
Now we're some health news. You know the old expression, don't worry, be happy?
Don't worry, be happy.
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 Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry.
Do you think that was written by producers independently in each little news station across the country? Or do you think that was a package written by somebody purposefully and sent out to these news mockingbirds? Well, it happens every single day in their Pentagon written stories, their State Department, Department of Defense written stories. The list is long, and that's what we're up against. That's the problem, isn't it, Waldemar?
Absolutely, absolutely. When I talk to people about Operation Mockingbird, I take them to Wikipedia or a place that they can quickly verify that it's a real conspiracy, and they claim that they stopped that. How can you trust them? They lie around the clock, and the NDAA of 2013, that's what they legalized, propaganda against the American people, overturning a previously existing law. But that doesn't mean that they been aligned to us forever. What I think it means is that now you don't have any legal recourse to go against CNN or MSNBC for lying to you. It's legal, That's what I think it means. But they've been lying to us forever. And, you can look up PSYOPs on Wikipedia and research all the many incidents where people at NPR and CNN had been in bed with the fourth psychological operation groups, the PSYOPs, where these people should be, fighting wars. They are, quote unquote, training with industry. And that caused a big uproar a few years ago, but they keep doing it, believe me. And it's hard to wake people up. I believe me. But, we do everything. I think everybody has an obligation and to share all this information. And I think, that's why I put together the presentation, because I think once people see for themselves these short clips, they wake up, and I'm very happy that I'm able to contribute to all this effort.
Well, yeah, and it's great that you're getting out and talking to young people in a community college. I mean, because if there's any chance we have at all left, it's to wake up the young people. Certainly CNN's audience and Fox News audience of geriatric people on Social Security, those people are not going to save us. Those are the people that are clinging badly to their normalcy bias and refuse to process any of this information. So I think it's important, though, now to talk about CIA memo 1035-960, which you reference in your presentation, because they do use a term against us as a pejorative on purpose, and we hear these mockingbirds use it constantly. What is the term?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I kept hearing conspiracy theories. You're a conspiracy theory, I went and downloaded the original document just to see what CIA document 1035-960 was all about, because I'm the kind of person that I have to see for myself and to believe. Let me read a few lines, and it's more than obvious. This trend of opinion is a matter of concern to the U.S. government, including our organization, the CIA. This is a memo, for those that are not familiar with. During the Warren Commission, the CIA was worried, and the whole government was worried about their credibility, and because people were starting to ask questions about the assassination of JFK. So anyways, they came up with this memo to try to quote unquote answer conspiratorial arguments. But here is something interesting. The aim of this dispatch is to provide material countering and discrediting the claims of the conspiracy theorists, so as to inhibit the circulation of such claims in other countries, to employ propaganda to refute the attacks of the critics. Book reviews and featured articles are particularly appropriate for this purpose. Our ploy should point out, as applicable, that the critics are wedded to theories adopted before the evidence was seen, politically interested, financially interested, and inaccurate in their research. So this is not about finding the truth. This is about public opinion manipulation, just to have people believe that the government didn't have anything to do with it, and they've been doing it forever. And the people, that's the first line of attack that they use when you come up with the information about what the government is being up to.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much it. I mean, they're very open about what the purpose is.
Yeah, they're trying to ice. Yeah, they're trying to ice conversation. They don't want people to be informed and have informed conversations. They want people to buy the official stories time and time again, hook, line, and sinker, because that way those who have usurped power can continue to hold their power unchecked. Because again, it really comes full circle here. The Mockingbird mainstream media, those that are supposed to be journalists, those like George Stephanopoulos, who just signed a $105 million contract, you guys, $105 million. And and then he got busted for giving $75,000 to the Clinton Foundation and didn't disclose it. These are the people that are supposed to be what we call the fourth estate. They're supposed to help keep the three branches of government in check. But because they're bought and paid for by the corporatocracy, by the oligarchs, because they're bought and paid for members of the CFR, they're part of the conspiracy, and they're aligned against us. And it doesn't even matter if CNN's ratings are plummeting. They'll pay these people millions of dollars because they're made men. They're paid well to keep the secrets, and they're paid well to lie to you. And I'll tell you, Waldemar, the other thing as it relates to the JFK assassination, isn't it funny how we see people who are in the echelons of power who are aligned against truth and are part of cover-ups, then becoming very powerful in government? Gerald Ford himself was on the Warren Commission, only to later become president.
Oh yeah, they all get promoted. That's the strange things about it. That should be a red flag. I don't know why people can't see that. They talk about the incompetence theory everywhere. And it could be easily disproven that that is more than incompetence. And they want to if you look back at the issue of war, Gulf Tonkin, faulty intelligence, so they blame it on incompetence. Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, faulty intelligence, and all these people keep getting promoted. 9/11, faulty intelligence. Pearl Harbor, faulty intelligence, and millions of people keep dying, and they keep grabbing more. So that should be a red flag. But people don't see it that way. They call you right-wing conspiracy theorists, and I'm not a right-wing, by the way. I'm an ex-Democrat, and I never voted for a Republican, and but that's how people perceive it from the propaganda that they put out.
Yeah.
So sad.
Well, I love that you've broken your conditioning and that you're intellectually honest enough to say, I'm a former Democrat, because I'm a former Republican, right? I will not be controlled by the right or the left at this point, because I've broken my conditioning. I know that the right is aligned with the left against the people. They're all in the club. They're in the big club. You and I aren't in the club. It's the old George Carlin line. It's a big club, and you and I ain't in it.
That's correct. Yep. The media, the mainstream media is a very important political tool. That they control us. They control what we think. They control what we see, and they create trends. They shape social attitudes. So that's to me, that's the gateway. That's one of the most important keys to wake up the public is the mainstream media, and that's where the alternative news and alternative websites come in. You guys are our only hope. If not, everything is lost, and we are making some inroads. It looks like 15 to 20% of the population now is at a minimum seems to be aware of all these things. That's huge, but there is a lot of work ahead of us, and I want to thank you for all for this opportunity first, and for all the good work that you guys do. And I want to encourage people to tune in to SGT Report. It's a great source of information. Keep an open mind. It's the only way that you. I like to say this from Mr. Bill Cooper, an ex-Navy intelligence officer. Listen to everybody, read everything, and believe nothing until you can prove it with your own research. So that's my guideline.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for saying something kind about SGTReport.com. Rory and my friend Peter and I, we work 24/7 trying to get out real information and real news. We're trying very hard to combat the corporate propaganda every single day. We're doing the same thing over at the Phaser with my good friend Catherine, and we're just doing everything we can with the libertymill.com to try to combat these media whores that get paid tens of millions of dollars a year to lie to you. That's what we're all about, and I'm really glad to welcome Waldemar Perez to the fight. Thank God for guys like you too, Waldemar, because you can kind of help us cut through. You got to wake up those lefties, my friend.
I'm trying. Thank you so much. If you guys are an inspiration for me. If it wasn't for people like you, I wouldn't be here today. So thank you again.
Oh, God bless you. And let me ask you, is there any way we can visit you online and support you? I know you've got Intercept Media as a YouTube channel out there. Where can we see some of your work? Is there a website? How do we support what you're doing?
I can, if I can ask you for a favor.
Sure, anything.
You can run the mainstream media presentation And we have two other presentations also on police militarization and current geopolitics, which that's my main concern. That's why I'm here today and doing presentations, because I can see that we are heading in the wrong direction when it comes to geopolitics. And the first half of that presentation is about 9/11 and things of that nature. And then we set the stage to explain to people what's going on at the global level. So I'm very concerned, I'm very worried, and that's why I'm doing all these things. I do what I can to help.
Absolutely. Well, God bless you for that. And we did post your presentation, Mainstream Media as a Weapon of Social Engineering and War, at SGT Report. I also want people to just Google this if you haven't seen it yet. The top 10 staged media events from YouTube channel Thought Crime 7. That's an absolute must-see, must-share. And Waldemar, why don't you send me those two other presentations you just mentioned, and I'll put those links in the more information section underneath this video, and we will also post them separately, one at a time, at SGT Report. Our guest has been Waldemar Perez, a mechanical engineer who formerly worked for the Department of Defense and an all-around great American. Waldemar, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thanks for all the good work. Keep in touch.
Keep in touch, brother, and we'll talk again. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't thank you enough. SGTReport.com is the place to stop for real news and information 24/7, thelibertymill.com, and thephaser.com, combating media horror lies every single day. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.